Hello once again, friends and fans. Raptor here, and welcome to another edition, installment, and episode of Wargame European Escalation Multiplayer. This will be episode 2 for NATO versus Pact, and it will be Raptor here versus Regleon. So, this match is very, very, very close and very interesting and very exciting. So I want you to buckle in right now because you're in for a real ride. Regleon was, I believe, a level 30-something player, and I'm only like level 18 or something to that effect. And we'll speed this up just so we can get into the battle a little bit more quickly. He was quite the challenge, and I definitely appreciate that when both players fight honorably rather than, little sneaky attacks. But you know what? Everything's always sneaky. There's always that kind of sneakiness going on. So I guess I don't know what I'm talking about when I'm saying sneakiness, but there definitely was a continuous battle, and there wasn't any, heavy defense, come at me, bro, or anything like that. And sometimes that does happen. We do have Regleon starting off with a couple of Mi-8 TV transports, BTRs. Looks like we have a Tunguska and 2 T-64Bs there, along with a BRM-1 scout unit, that's armored recon. A couple of Shilka units defending his UAZ back here. And back on Team Raptor, we have my usual setup of Bradley CFVs, a couple of command units, Gazelle coming out, and Flak Panzers to defend with the like. So you can see the two giants speeding at each other, and he definitely has quite the number of units. If you can see here, he's got a lot of units in the convoy heading towards Charlie. Here we have the two cargo helicopters already dropping off troops in this forest in Delta, just behind it rather, and the Mi-2 LSK heading up to scout on what we're doing. Gazelle now scouting on his troops. I already know that the VPZU is being put, what I had assumed, into the forest, so I wouldn't get close with that at all. The Bradley's now speeding from the right to the left. Foxtrot now being held by our forces. Golf being held by our forces, and Charlie and Alpha being held by his. Not to mention I also hold Hotel. Bringing reinforcements now, Jupiter trucks, Chaparral, and some AMX artillery to deal with the troops in the forest that I had thought would already be there. And it looks like he split those up between the buildings and the forest. BTR-60 now bringing up, and BMP-1 bringing up Motor Strelicky and perhaps Conquer's Bad Ferde or the Fagat. The Tungutska already taking down the Gazelle. I could have slowed down there a little bit, but boy, oh boy, look at that. Wow, that helicopter took forever to crash. That was absolutely amazing. Great sniping effort there from his 2K22M Tunguska. Chieftain tanks now being called out to defend on the ridge. Marauder 1's now being called out to left. We'll slow this down now that we're getting a little bit more action going on. Tunguska defending the center and the right. Two separate units there. Left, not really much air cover over here, but you do see the two T-64Bs, the Motor Strelicky, and the BMP-1 in reserve. Defending the left flank of Echo. Two Bradley CFVs, the M3A1 Bradley CFVs, now scouting the road and that area around Echo. Artillery now firing at the ZPZU. No, actually, it's being fired at the Motor Strelicky hiding in the woods here. You can see a couple of great hits. Very accurate artillery for NATO. It's French self-propelled artillery. Accuracy of 10, HE power of 5. And I'm very big on the accuracy because it's great to be able to damage the enemy, but it's another thing to hit them. The more hits, you get stunned, you get units routing, and even he's pulling some units back manually as well. Looks like the Tunguska and the BMP-2 are being pulled back on his doing. BTR-60s bringing up some LAAD troops, the anti-aircraft missile troops. Looks like we've got a little Gazelle out peeking again at what we have going on the left flank, and a BRM-1 being brought up to peek as well at what we're doing. We both seem to have pretty much the same technique. He does have he is denying us Delta, but we are denying him Echo. He has a great line of defense here on the right flank and a pretty good line of defense on the left. I have a few tanks to defend across the board, along with some chaparrals to take down any more transport helicopters or scouts that get out, and we also have some chieftain ready here on the right. Flak Panzer looks like he's defending just by the forest for more anti-aircraft coverage, And it looks like the Geopards are also not covered here by the road. Can't have enough anti-aircraft, but we're pretty well covered. Gazelle doing some more scouting work, and looks like the Tunguska is moving in for another attempted kill. Over here at his spawn point, Ural trucks moving in again. No new real units being brought in on the battlefield yet, except for the two M2 Bradleys that are being brought in on my side to accompany those chieftains. Bradley's being pulled back a little bit. Looks like it seems that he may have been able to fire at those with the two T-64Bs, and we do have a lot of troops here now in these woods that the artillery is doing a good number of at least trying to hit units that have been detected. We definitely need to thin out those Soviet forces before we attempt any type of attack, or to have a better likelihood of defending against an attack. Again, two T-64Bs being brought in the battlefield. Let's look at these units. Accuracy 6 on the ATGM, accuracy 7 on the main gun, 1925, 99. Only 2 easy payments of. The standard range for the main gun, very good unit from the Soviets, and as you can see, he also brought in the first level of, I guess you could say, experience or elite units. The not the bare bones, but they do at least have some experience. Looks like we have a building attack on the right flank. BMPs are here. A lot of motor Strelaki, a lot of I believe these are these are some more Conqueror's Bad Fur Day here, along with a UAZ, so he's definitely ready for an attack or a defense. Pretty good, because he can attack by attacking this forest here on the right and this forest on the left. Flak Panzer moving in to see if he can deal with that Mi-2. Unfortunately, no long-range rocket artillery or missile artillery like the Chaparral that's over here on the left. Two T-64s moving in, being constantly pounded and bombarded by the AMX there. T-64B getting ready to fire. He's doing a little bit of targeting. He may fire off his Cobra missiles, and no attempt was made. They were out of range. Bradleys were about to be engaged. I did see it, and I pulled back. Very interesting tactics, and I do love how he's keeping his units under a umbrella of anti-aircraft defenses. Primarily just this one Tunguska unit, but do not underestimate one unit. And it looks like we have a little bit of a sneak attack going here. Two Marauder ones bringing up the Panzer Grenadiers, and it looks like they are going to defend against anything that's brought out on Bravo. BRDM-2U being brought to the battlefield now to help capture that zone for him. Two Ural trucks, two UAZ SPG-9s are also placed up on that hill, so he definitely is defending it, has just not yet captured it. Mi-8 TVs still sitting here. Looks like we moved our Geopard here to defend against any more attempts with helicopter to bring in reinforcements. The BRDM-2U being brought in finally, and speeding up to that reinforcement point at Bravo. The UAZs are now moving in to defend the ridgeline here, and it looks like the T-64Bs are now taking hits. Wow. There are a lot of units in the forest. We have a total of 4 T-64Bs, a scout helicopter, and a Tunguska. Always a tricky unit to say, sitting back and relaxing in the nice German sun in the field here, just on the tree line rather. It looks like we have some motor Strelaki and Conquerors hanging out in the villa, and reinforcements standing by here, or at least a nice defense for them. LSK out of fuel, being retreated back to that FOB more than likely. We now have a come at me bro situation. That's right, the first of the battlefield today. That is the first instance that has happened for this battle in that sense. So that means that we both have pretty good defenses, and we're both ready to strike. We have a little bit of a mild Cold War, if you will. We're both trying to sniff out the weaknesses of each other. We're both scouting on each other's lines. I've definitely made progress here on the left with those Panzer Grenadiers, and it looks like we're bringing in a Sagai. We'll just call it Saggy. Yes, we're bringing in the Shaggy Saggy, the ERC-90 French self-propelled. Well, I shouldn't call it self-propelled because everything is self-propelled in this game, but it is a excellent recon unit from the French, and 2 M2 Bradleys, and Chieftains being brought in, along with 2 Chieftain MK10s. Finally, Raptor bringing up the major ponage, bringing up the attack finally, seeing if we can push him back a little bit, especially with that BRM1, trying to prevent him from knowing that there's really nothing here to stop him other than just a few units. BRM1, oh, wait a minute, Segi being completely obliterated from the battlefield. Goodbye, Sagi. He's gone now. No more recon for Raptor. Artillery coming in, just causing a little bit of havoc with those T-64s and the Ural trucks. I think one may have been destroyed there. BRM-1, ooh, not hit, but definitely retreating. Let's get a close-up on this unit. It's basically a BMP with a lot of nice windows on it, and it's destroyed. That's now for sale on the used lot for 99 cents. That's right, you can own your own piece of the battlefield, and by piece I do mean just a seat that's left over with a hand in it from the explosion. Only for 99 cents. Download now on iTunes. Okay, so two T-64s are now panicked, and I'm not sure where those other 2 went. Looks like they've retreated as well over to this tree line, being refueled by that one Ural 423D. Tunguska being held in nice reserve, not being brought forward any further. Nice umbrella still. Oh, looks like we have a firing of... I'm not exactly sure if that was an anti-aircraft missile, if the Gazelle got too close or what, but that missile went definitely haywire. Another French space program. Chieftains heavily damaged here. You've got one that's worried, Major Little or Private Little or whatever you want to call them, retreating now due to the heavier damage from those T-64Bs. Even the 4 Chieftain tanks, the Mark II and Mark Xs, were unable to really do damage to those higher level T-64Bs. Only 2 of them, and they took a couple of dings and scratches. Artillery coming in now to obliterate everything at that tree line. T-64s firing again. Chieftain's pulling way back now. Hopefully we enticed him to attack us so we can get a little bit of an advantage with our lesser units. But at this point, I'm surprised that he didn't attack. He's now bringing in a Buratino, or as I call it, the Brian Boitano, a nice artillery piece from the Russians. It's basically a Ford Explorer with a huge box of missiles on top of it. Very beautiful from the Russians. And also the Zalo, which are 2 tank-busting scout cavalry units. Oh, very deadly. Very cool-looking units, but definitely don't want to be in front of those when they're starting to fire. Losing 1 Chieftain now, and it looks like maybe 1 Bradley may have also been destroyed during the siege. We have a lot of fighting going on this left flank. Very nice. Looks like our right flank tank attack is getting underway here. We're just refueling these units, that way they don't stall on the battlefield. Getting ready to bring those up. Tunguska bringing his Tunguska up again to try to attack that Gazelle unit that's being retreated. Chaparral being brought up as well to deal with anything that may come our way, getting that a little closer to the battlefield. Artillery now firing at that Tunguska. Gazelle being held back just in case. Definitely, if it gets any closer, might be able to take it out with the Chieftain, which have not been repaired. There's no repair units in sight. Don't want to bring those down there, but it looks like his Ural trucks that were just called out have been captured. That's right. He did try to call out some Ural trucks to reinforce and rearm and refit his units, and it looks like they were captured by those Panzer Grenadiers. Excellent job, my friends. Excellent job. LSK coming over to see what the F is going on. What happened to my awesome scouts? Or my supply trucks, and it looks like my scout units have been able to successfully capturing those. Noticing that I actually did capture those, being brought into the forest now for cover to help reinforce those Panzer Grenadiers, and to possibly bring those back to my side to help supply the additional AMX F1s coming out. Looks like this artillery is being really effective in pinning down those T-64s, which have now obliterated. Or not obliterated, but are opening fire on another Chieftain, one of them already being destroyed, but it looks like the Cobra missiles are coming over. Ooh, and I think that may have been a hit. No, it wasn't. Very close, though. They're getting very close. Let's look on the right flank now. Oh my god, looks like those Mark 10s and 1 Mark II were destroyed. The pair of Mark 10s and the Chieftain Mark II, one of those was destroyed. Even with the Bradley, another Bradley being taken out by the T-64B. UAZ providing a great look onto the battlefield. Jupiter trucks retreating now. Did not know he had so much there. And look at the reserves, and not to mention the Mi-8 TVs piling in. A lot of nice scout units there on his part. Still not able to destroy those, even though that artillery had been falling there for a while. But we're doing a little bit more punishing here on the left flank. Let's go ahead and speed this up a little bit. Then we'll have a lot of artillery strikes going on over the next couple of minutes. So now we're both going to try to recover a little bit. He will have to repair and refit and rearm some of his units that may have been lost during that attack and constant artillery. And on the left flank, we do have some routing T-64s who are routing to the edge of the tree line, still getting hit very, very hard and continuously. Euro trucks moving up from the back. Looks like we also have some MSTAs. Mista. We got two Mr. Robotos moving in from the back. For the Soviets, we have Brian Boitano and Mista Roboto coming in. A lot of artillery now, probably to counter mine. Tunguska being held in the back. Motor Strelicky now moving in on that Bradley that's being moved around, trying to scout, see where they're at. Looks like they're opening fire. Oh no, he's actually opening fire on the Mi-8s that were coming in for support. Artillery coming down on the T-64B, and that Bradley unfortunately destroyed. Flak Panzer Chieftains are the only units remaining that can really stop those motor Strelicky. And let's see if the artillery falls. Let's see if the hammer drops on the units in Delta and the motor Strelicky just to the right of it. UAZ now moving over to the tree line to the right and seeing if he can peek at what our other defenses are here. And the mini-map just going crazy with a strobe light of destruction. Yeah, that's right. Chieftain MK2 parked here with only 119 units of fuel left. I'm not sure if that's gallons, liters, but we'll just call it units for this sense. It looks like more units are coming in. Oh boy. Oh boy, the pimp daddy of the battlefield, ladies and gentlemen. And by ladies and gentlemen, I do mean gentlemen. The T-80U, one of the most deadliest units for the Soviets. Let's take a look here at what we've got. We've got 2.275 meters on the main gun. That is much greater than any unit that I have on the battlefield. This is a heavily advanced tank. ATGM there with a 2.626 on that. Boy, do you not want to mess with this pimp daddy. 10 front armor, 5 on the rear, 2 on the top and rear sides, having 5 rather. And let's go back into the action here. Zalo sitting up on the hill. Looks like he's still forming that defense around this tree line here along the road, and he has a nice spearhead here into what we have. Looks like the BMP-1 picking up units that have been attacked by artillery. One group of motor Strelicky being killed. The BMP now routing, cowering in the forest against the artillery. It looks like artillery now coming in on the BRDM-2U, and it seems that we'll try to get the points for that, see if we get those 200. Look at how close our points are. It's been very close this entire match. 545 to 655. Very, very close indeed. That could be the difference of just one tank, to be honest. Now, since we've entered into the higher level tank modes, me calling out some chieftains, which aren't cheap. They are 75, so one of those could change the battle or get him slightly ahead. That is why I've mentioned several times that this is a very tight battle, because we do, if you've been watching over the course of the video, our points do stay pretty close. I get ahead slightly, then he gets ahead, and this is definitely what you want from a Wargame European Escalation multiplayer game. So, Reglion, if you do find this video, my friend, I do take my hat off to you. I will not announce who wins this one. He is definitely ahead. It is a close one, and I do have great respect for him and for an enemy who will come at you straight up without making a sandbag wall. So we do have T-80Us coming in. We do have SPW 60 PBs, which I'm not familiar with. Let's take a look at this unit. Looks like it's a Polish weapon, perhaps. Oh, it's an East German transport. Very nice. Looks like the Mistas are now firing counter artillery now on our artillery. The Mista's now firing. It looks really similar to that French unit. Mi-8 TVs taking a break in the back. Euro trucks also supplying those Mr. Robotos. And it looks like they have been firing at the AMXs, as you can see that they are on the move. And we now have a total, wow, 2, 4, 6 of them. And we have a Super Chinook, 4 Jupiter trucks. Look at all the Jupiter trucks. My God, everybody gets a supply truck. And not to mention, look at the CH-47C Super Chinook here, using so much artillery, and it's so effective that now deciding to bring in more. Brian Boitano, still parked here, has not fired off his rockets yet. Panzer Grenadiers being taken out by the Mr. Roboto. Me no like. Looks like BTR-60's bringing up the rest of those troops. We're now into the faster mode. Looks like, what's going on here? Oh, Operation Sneaky Sneak. Look at this. What's going on here? More Marauders being brought up. Definitely going to secure his spawn point here next to Bravo, so he can't use it again. We'll call that Operation Sneaky Snake. So M113s, two of those bringing in the lad, still tightening on those air defenses. I'm not exactly sure why I was so afraid of it, but you never know. The enemy may try to spearhead. UAZ 469 retreating now. That is a recon unit that is pulling back to the woods. That would have been a really good position to keep him. Chieftains in the woods now. Marauder chieftains moving. Another set of chieftains moving to the right forest. Golf is in jeopardy. He could spring forward at any moment and really bring the pain. Only with a few. In fact, if I guarantee you, if one set of those tanks was destroyed, that's when I would retreat completely from that zone. He is now pushing forward. Look at this. T-64 and T-80Us. Let's slow it down. Get a good look at the battlefield. T-80s and the T-64s and the BRMs being brought in the battlefield. Actually, I think maybe those T-64s may have just been called out. It sometimes is tricky. The game will display the unit where it's being called out to, and then we'll later call it out for reinforcements. So we'll see. But he does have those T-80s, which are very deadly, sitting in the forest here, along with the BRM, which you do not want that to be a good mix. That BRM will show the T-80s the way to victory, and they will fire upon you. A lot of units, a lot of infantry in the right forest, a lot of infantry in the left forest. He should attack Golf, but is not at this time. T-80s being pounded. Look at that, being stunned now by the artillery, constant artillery barrage from those 6 now. French AMX. Wow, just being completely pounded by the AMX AU F1s. They're now being routed to the edge of the battlefield. Let's take a look at their health. Hardly scratched. Wow. Look at all that artillery, baby. Ooh, BRM pulling out. Ooh, wow, look at how accurate that artillery is. It's all hitting in the same little area. Unfortunately, it's a little too far behind. One extra shell not coming in and taking out that BRM. Can't even see it through the smoke. Jeez, look at that. Finally appearing on the battlefield. 2 T-80Us routed to the edge of the battlefield. They will not fire. I should go in and counter them, but I might not be able to see it since our Gazelle is so far behind. 2 Abrams being brought in now. Left flank re-secured or reinforced with Chaparral and Stingers. Marauder, Sneaky Snake. What are we doing here? We're moving up. Looks like we're trying to scout, maybe find his Mr. Roboto that might be here. What are we doing? BRDM 2U being brought in again. MI8 TVs and BMPs sitting next to his FOB. Boy, a lot of GHU, LM, LMFAO, JK, LOLs today, I guess. A lot of acronyms in war. T-80Us being pulled back. Looks like the BRM was hit, and the firing computer will take a minute to reboot. Yes, that's right. I'm not Canadian, but I did sound like a Canadian there, so I may be the Sneaky Snake. So we have the T-80Us pulling back to the Euro trucks. The BRM still waiting to reboot, I think. I'm not exactly sure if that was canceled or not, but it looks like a lot of trouble over here for Operation Sneaky Snake. It retract. One unit hitting the muds and another one hitting rough ground. And yes, I did say the muds. That is more than one muds. So T-64B, looks like we still have a lot of the same going on over here. Brian Boitano, what are we doing here, Brian? Brian moving up to the forest line. Not exactly sure if he's going to fire off that Brian Boitano, but we will go to our resident reporter, Reg Chapman, in the field. Reg, inform us if Brian Boitano does fire. Looks like we have chieftains in desperate need of fuel over here. Some real gas hogs. Reluctant to bring in those more supply trucks, but my God, look at all of the super Chinooks being brought in now to supply all of this artillery. Since he has refused to attack and wants me to come to him to fall into his attack, I refuse bringing up more artillery to chip away at the Berlin Wall that has formed in front of me. Yes, it would be really not intelligent at all to bring up units to attack these. Tanks would just get obliterated right away, and that's what he's hoping for. The Apache would easily be countered with some more artillery, or definitely the Tengu. Oh, I would not want to risk any of that, but it looks like Operation Sneaky Stank. Marauder's now pulling up to the edge of the forest, peeking at what he has. Not sure if we're able to see anything now, but we do have Mr. Roboto's on the move from that artillery from the AMX, just pounding everything in the field for Alpha, denying him temporary reinforcements. Brian, now Reg Chapman in the field, coming to you live, telling us that Brian Boitano has fired, and he is angry, possibly destroying an M. Oh, he destroyed another, and stunning. Wow, we're down to 2 MD Jupiter trucks, starting with 4. 2 of them destroyed, and now stunned. Flak Panzer in need of a little bit of repair, too, from that rage from Brian Boitano. Brian firing a 30-round... or 30, I guess, yeah, 30-round barrage from that 220 millimeter. AMX now firing in rage, a counter rage fire on Brian Boitano. Brian being slightly hit, and the T-64 being a little stunned from that counter artillery, that rage artillery coming in now, trying to destroy Brian. Brian not being hit. Oh, artillery getting close on multiple occasions. Brian now taking some more damage. Those little white squares down in the corner above where it says panicked is his health. Some units have more than others. He now decides to pull out of there after the barrage is over. We're now seeing new units on the battlefield. Looks like an MI2 LSK bringing Operation Rainbow Sunshine Sneaky Snake Smiley Face in jeopardy. Now looks like a lot of those Shilkos have been, I don't know if this recently happened, but the UAZ has moved and Shilkos have moved around to defend, creating a perimeter around that. MI2 LSK now... Oh, yes, he has seen the Marauder 1 there. Marauder 1 does have anti-aircraft capabilities, and we'll check back in on what happens here after we peek at what's going on over here. Looks like those T-80Us have formed a defensive line. Bradleys are getting ready to fire, and artillery firing again at Bravo. But let's go back to Operation Sneaky Snake. Sneaky Snake, Marauder now opening fire on those Mi-ATVs that are not firing because they do not have a clear line of sight. They are being stunned. Critical hit on the ammo box, losing a lot of their ammunition. One Mi-ATV getting ready to fire. One of them possibly in danger of crashing. But definitely not able to fire. Panzer Grenadiers and the Marauders being brought out. LSK destroyed. Another scout being taken down by the Marauders. That original unit that did detect them, destroying that scout unit, being destroyed rather by the Marauder. Mi-8TVs, a little panicky. He definitely doesn't want to move them, wants to keep an eye on what I'm doing. Motor Strelicky moving in, BMPs holding where they're at. Artillery will be coming in soon to defend these units. Panzer Grenadier ready to fire at the Shilka. Let's see if they can get a hit. No, but they are close. Oh, now Shilka's opening rage fire. Look at that. Gangster drive-by from the Shilkas. One Shilka destroyed now from the Panzer Grenadiers. If you look over the score, it's 1464 to 930. It's very close. Marauder 1 getting low on fuel. Rainbow Sunshine, Smiley Face Snake, super sneak attack now on halt over here in the left flank, waiting for a secondary counterattack if these Marauders cannot destroy anything. It is very close. If we destroy these Motor Strelicky and another Shilka being taken out, we're now only a mere 11 points to the end of the battle. Motor Strelicky now opening fire on the Marauders. Panzer Grenadiers holding where they're at, perhaps getting ready to cross the road to go for the Shilka. The final Shilka remaining. Marauders being opened fire upon by the BMP-1s that are not so accurate. No hits yet on those, and one unit upgraded. Motor Strelicky making a run for it across the field. 1 point to the end of the battle. Shilka's opening fire. Motor Strelicky opening fire. Artillery opening fire. Panzer Grenadier, one unit taken out. One squad completely obliterated. Let's see what's going to happen here, folks. This is the end of the battle, and it looks like the Motor Strelicky were destroyed. So hats off to you, my friend Reglon. Very close battle. It says major victory. I say that is a mere minor defeat on my part. No, in fact, I'd say that's a draw. Yes, a draw, because we came so close. If you look there at the kills, command points, and casualties, everything is rather close. But it does take a little operation like Operation Sneaky Snake, Sunshine, Smiles, Rainbow, Rain Time for you to be an effective commander on the battlefield. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Please, if you have, like, comment, and subscribe. Check out those other videos as well. There's plenty of Wargame European Escalation to go around. Men of War Assault Squad, check it all out. Again, like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, friends and fans,